It's All Her, the podcast. I'm your host, Jordy Lucas. I'm the founder and editor of It's All Her. I was an actress in a previous life and I'm a mum to a toddler. I've got a lot going on and I have a passion for helping women live simpler, better lives. For the latest in lifestyle and entertainment news, head to itsallher.com. Welcome to our very first episode for 2022. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and New Year and that you're feeling rested. I am not. If you follow me on my personal Instagram, you'll know that we had a failed pregnancy over the holiday and I've only just been able to have the D&C for that last week. So that's been hanging pretty heavily over my head the last few weeks. I'm wanting to do maybe a bonus episode one week where I talk about the whole experience because I really don't think that we talk enough about failed pregnancies and then what actually happens next enough. I'm just going to take some time to process it all myself now that it's over, but I will definitely be talking more about it. And because of all that was going on, I decided to start work a week later. But of course, today I found out that I am a close contact of someone who's just tested positive for COVID. So that'll probably be the next thing that happens. Our household will get struck down with that. I'm pretty sure we're one of very few households that haven't had COVID yet. It was one of the only good things about doing nothing for New Year's Eve was that we didn't contract COVID because it felt like almost everyone we knew got it on New Year's Eve. Anyway, enough COVID chat. We have some incredible conversations coming up in 2022. I am so excited to bring you another year of inspiration and tips on how you can make your life simpler and better. Please let me know if you have any guest suggestions or any suggestions for that matter for the podcast. I love hearing from you all. You can send those to Jordy at itsallher.com. And as always, I hate asking for this, but it is so appreciated if you subscribe and review the pod wherever you listen. Okay, let's jump straight into our very first interview for the year. Katie Williams is a retired sprinter, a seasoned professional podcaster, an all-round wellness guru. She competed on Big Brother last year as well, so many of you will recognize her from that. We caught up and spoke about her life, work, her sexuality, and most importantly, how you can live better in 2022. Here's my chat with Katie Williams. Katie, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast this week. So excited to hear your story. You were an ex-beach sprinter and a fitness trainer, and now you're a podcaster.
Yes.
Tell me how that sort of came about. So you started podcasting after you retired?
Yeah, so I retired when I was 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think I was 23. I'm now 28.
Okay.
And yeah, I was a beach sprinter. So I retired not long after what was supposed to be world champions. So I was world champion at age 19. And then I went, okay, I really want to become open world champion, which is an older age group. So it's 2 years for every world titles. And I just trained my ass off and I ended up missing the biggest race of my life. I missed my retiring race. So I got really sick and ended up in hospital with bronchiolitis and realized that I was so fit but not healthy. And I put so much pressure on myself to want to win this race and retire that I ended up sort of sabotaging in a way. So from that kind of moment of like struggle and kind of loss of identity as well, being an athlete, I kind of lent into all the things that make me feel good and what makes me me. And there's other aspects, so many other aspects to health and just fitness, obviously. Yeah. And at that point, I was really diving into meditation and spirituality and emotional health and different aspects of well-being. And I said, I'm just going to start a podcast. So I actually got approached by Nova originally. And they said, we want to give you a show. And I said, sweet, let's call it Better For It.
Yeah.
So Better For It was built kind of when I was having a really big identity shift and trying to figure out who I was again, I guess. And I was interviewing people that had gone through, really cool stories of adversity and health struggles and how they became better for it originally. That's kind of how it or how the struggles made them better for it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I interviewed a bunch of different people. And then the podcast, I got poached again by listener who I'm currently with, Stereo.
Yeah.
I've been with them for 2 years, and then I changed the whole show and made the podcast about challenges. So I dove into these crazy challenges, which was like, 2 weeks of no coffee, 2 weeks of Vedic meditation, plant-based, quitting sugar. I did some pretty gnarly ones, and I continued that for a long time. And now my new season of Better For It is a new evolved version. And I have another show called Live Better, which is daily episodes. So the podcast for me is kind of an extension of me. And to get people to think, move, and feel better. So the podcast is definitely my baby, and I love it. I still do, I still get hired as a trainer with brands, but I don't train people. But I am working on a program as well, so which will be coming out next year, hopefully, so that I can train the masses.
Yeah, wow. So it sounds like you were kind of ahead of the game with podcasting, because I don't know, for me, it feels like it's really just taken off in the last few years. Why do you think it is such a powerful medium?
Podcasting is a form of education and entertainment. It can be enlightening. It provides people with knowledge. It gets people to think differently. It gives people different perspectives. It allows people to have an opinion, and it also allows people to provide facts and education in a form of audio. So I think for people who are, different learners or who are creative, they may not be the, university lecturer or someone who really enjoys that form of learning. So I think, for me, I've done university, I've done lots of study, and I much prefer to listen. So I think podcasting is just a really powerful way to educate and inspire people. And also it's just a really cool, fun way of entertainment. So I think that, it is the future, and it's already happening now. But
totally.
I started the podcast 3 years ago when I guess no one kind of had jumped on it yet. So we got top charts. It was great. We've not been able to get those top charts back because there's such amazing podcasters now. So we started off really strong. And it's great to see so many podcasters come through. There's some fantastic ones, and there's some fantastic conversations being had. It's a really powerful medium.
I think as well, because it's a form of entertainment, and that the Australian entertainment industry is so small and therefore so competitive, and it sort of opens up the opportunity for anyone to have a platform.
It does. And I think that's what's so cool about podcasting is you're exactly right. I've got friends who they don't have a big name or any media presence, but they're just so cool, and they've got such cool things to say, and they see the world differently. They go, I'm going to start a podcast. I just think, why not be curious? Why not be fun? Why not just create something? Who cares if no one listens? Just do it.
So Big Brother, did that come about because you already sort of had that profile with your podcasting and you were sort of known within the media, or did you audition thinking it was going to be a fun opportunity?
I was asked to be on the show.
Yeah. Do you think your background as an athlete gave you an edge, or made you more competitive?
I think it made me a threat. I think it obviously has its advantages. Like, I am a born competitor. I'm very competitive, and I'm a fierce player. And I played the game very hard. So I actually think that was my unfolding, to be honest, because a lot of people just sort of cruise through. And, I think if you are really unassuming in games like that, then you can make it really far. But subtlety ain't my forte. So, I definitely got voted out before my time, but I made an impact. I left them up.
Were you worried or nervous in any way? You've sort of got this podcast, but then being thrown onto national TV where a lot more people would recognize you and know who you were. Was there any part of you that was nervous about backlash or, the notorious trolling that comes with sometimes being on TV?
Oh, I'm actually dealing with it now. We've got an interesting few people that are somewhat after me.
Okay.
So, yeah, stuff like this happens all the time. I think that I was prepared to just kind of like lay it all out. I'm comfortable in who I am, and I'm pretty sure of myself. And I think that that is a really big opportunity for trolling.
Yeah.
Being a woman and being an athlete, it's like, okay, well, being an ex-athlete, I mean, I'm retired now.
Yeah.
But still, I think that is a really good, and then also having issues with a male who was like an underdog kind of thing. So to have that kind of rivalry and storyline play out, people love to hate on the confident one, you know? So,
yeah.
And they also didn't show, I'm a very vulnerable, emotional person, and I'm very empathetic.
Yeah.
And what they didn't show was the scenes of me crying and helping people and teaching people how to meditate and training people. And they really cut every soft human part of me. So that's what you sign up for. And the people that know me and follow me and know what my brand is all about and what I'm all about would know that I, even though I am, you know, strong and fierce and confident, I still am, you know, have many bad days and struggle with, you know, self-doubt and struggle with, I don't know, I guess just the normal everyday woman things. But they didn't show that part of me, which is okay, because you are put on the show to play a character in a way. So
and they've got their narrative that they have set out for you, you know.
And I'm happy. I was happy with, you know, the producers. I was happy with my edit. I think that, you know, I was always going in as the athlete, the fierce girl. So they were going to always follow that storyline. And that's okay. You know, I don't, there's no hard feelings at all. Like, I think Big Brother is a great show. I loved my experience. Obviously there was major rivalry with me and Danny. And, you know, Christ, there's a lot of things that are unspoken, which I will never bring up.
Yeah.
We'll let that go and just never let it resurface again. But, you know, we do these things. It's obviously a risk, but I mean, I love it. I love risk. I love putting myself out there. Like, if you don't like me, you don't like me. Like, I'm not here to please.
Yeah. Like, and I think as soon as you realize that you're not going to please everyone, life becomes a hell of a lot easier.
We all got trolled. Everyone gets trolled on television.
Yeah.
But what happens, you know, you get 90% of people that support you, and then you get like the 10% that hate you. Yeah. And like, they hate you for all the things that you love about yourself. Like, I got hated on about like my sexuality. And I'm like, at that point, like, no one knew that I was like curious or like kind of bi. Everyone just thought I was straight, but then I was getting trolled online, and I'm like, hold up, I haven't even said anything. Like, so
really, so that was happening even before you posted about your girlfriend?
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Yeah. So people just have a lot to say, and to be honest, I kind of feel like no hard feelings. Like, you're like, I'm just living my life, and you guys are the ones getting upset on the internet about someone that you don't know. So like, maybe you need to look within. Like, if you're not worried about my sexuality, why don't you look into your sexuality?
I saw that you did post about that, and how that you've, you know, had people ask you, are you bi? Are you this? Are you that? Are you a lesbian? Like, and you have sort of rejected being labeled. Was that a journey to get to that point? Because I feel like on a subconscious level, we all label ourselves in certain ways. Or have you always just been super open?
I think I've rejected labels for a long time.
Yeah.
So when I was an athlete, I would be called, the sprinter, the athlete. And I'd be like, well, actually, I'm also starting a business. Like, this is when I was 19. I started a supplement business, which failed miserably.
Yeah.
But there's lots of things, so many failures, you've noticed. Yeah. But yeah, so I think, and even little things like I was vegan and I'm now no longer. So I guess I'm now pescatarian, but I prefer to not label any part of my life, because it's like I don't really know how to tell people what I do for work. I literally just say I do a bit of everything, because at the moment I actually have 3 or 4 streams of income, and I'm always working on things. And I don't want to be like, oh, you're a trainer or you're a podcaster. Obviously, I'm a podcaster. I'm an ex-athlete, and I'm a part owner in alcohol, and I'm working on another business. But it's really hard to label anything. So I just say I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
And when it comes to sexuality, I don't really, I mean, if I had to be labeled for society to understand, then it would be bisexual. Because I've dated guys in the past and now, fall in love with a girl. I didn't really see this for myself,
Yeah, right.
But I also was very open to it. And have been open to it for probably a year and a half. But George and I have been together for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I think that when it comes to labels, when it comes to sexuality, I just feel like, I'm just me. And I know Georgia is the same. She always just says, I'm just Georgia. I'm just G. Because I asked her when I met her, I was like, are you like a bit bi? Like, are you? And she was like, I'm just Georgia. And I was like, well, that doesn't really
help me right now.
And she was like, no, I'm into you. And yes. So, but for me, I'd rather not be put in boxes just in general. I'd rather just live my life, continue to evolve. And but I am on the gay, I'm gay, you know what I mean? Like that's how, and I think as I'm kind of like learning about this space, I realized that people want to call you queer, they want to call you gay, they want to call you straight. Like you can be straight and have, had experiences with girls or vice versa, but it actually still means that, I don't know, I guess you're on the sexuality spectrum. I don't know, like so for me, I just kind of think I'm just going to be me. I'm in love with who I'm in love with. And if someone needs to label me, that's okay. I don't really care what you want to label me. Like, I'm just
were you expecting all those sorts of questions when you hit post on that? Like, what were you expecting?
Nothing. Like, I mean, it just comes from every angle, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, if people need to call me bisexual, they can call me bisexual. I'm currently in a same-sex relationship. So if you need to call me a lesbian, you can call me a lesbian. But I don't really identify with that.
Yeah.
Because I haven't struggled with it growing up. Like I haven't struggled with my sexuality. When I was younger, I was always attracted to guys. So I don't know. I mean, at the ripe old age 27, I thought, hey, maybe I'm going to like lean into something else, And then obviously met Georgia and fully fell in love. So I think that it's a pretty different story for sexuality. And I mean, I definitely am really open about talking about it all, but for me, it's still a process, I'm learning about what's okay to say. And, I think that the community have been amazing and super accepting and super loving, and I'll always support them. And I'm always open to learning about what's the right thing to say, what's not the right thing to say. So by me saying that I don't want to be labeled, it's more that like in my own head, I don't need a label.
Yeah. Because I mean, some people do want to be labeled. That's so, everyone's so different, aren't they?
100%. But it's the same thing. It's been a constant for me. I didn't want to be labeled as an athlete, just an athlete. I didn't want to be labeled as a vegan, because you evolve and you change. And then if you break out, what if I date a guy next? I don't know. Like, I mean, I definitely see myself staying with Jordy for forever, but if I date a guy next, someone would go, well, you were a lesbian. Well, it's like, hold up, I actually never put myself in that box. So I think by not having pressure, it just allows you to enjoy life, enjoy the moment, and just kind of know that it's for you. And it's sacred.
Yeah. Obviously, having a profile, there's going to be interest in your personal life and, what's going on. And I feel like when you have a profile on the internet or wherever, you have to kind of give parts of yourself to maintain interest.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile, sharing, but also maintaining some privacy so that some things are sacred to you?
Definitely. I think that with my relationship, I've been quite open with my sexuality online, but not too much so that I feel uncomfortable or Georgia feels uncomfortable. I think that relationships are sacred, and I think that there is so many moments that are best kept private. Particularly in lockdown, Georgia and I have had such beautiful moments that we've just kept totally to ourselves. And there's a lot of things that I'll keep totally to ourselves. For me, my life was online and Georgia's wasn't. So I don't want to throw, Georgia into this world of like, everyone's watching you, because I guess in a way people are watching you, and they're waiting for you to slip up as well.
Yeah.
You go to events and you're getting your photo taken and there's media there, you do the carpet, like you do interviews, whatever. And I just think there's a time and place for like work mode and then not work mode. So I don't know, I kind of am a very open person and I will continue to be super open. And I'm so blessed that, Georgia is a very accepting, loving and open person as well. So anytime I feel that I want to speak about sexuality, she just says, like, go for it, like, please, so she in no way holds me back. And I think that there will be lots of parts of my life that I will keep private. There's a lot of things that I keep private that I just don't talk about. There's a lot of things that even I struggle with that I keep private that I just, think maybe I'll talk about it one day, maybe I won't. And then I also ask myself, is sharing this information actually going to help anyone, or am I doing it for my own therapy? So if it's for my own therapy, then I journal. So I've actually got my journal here right now. So if I think so I sit with it, might write a post, then I'll think, am I actually doing this for the greater good, or am I doing it because it's self-serving? And half the time on Instagram, if you read people's captions, it's probably not for the greater good, or it's probably not to help people. It might be for their own self-soothing or like self-regulation. For me, the stuff that I share online, I'm hopefully and trying to do it from a place of intention and for the greater good. Whereas the stuff that I write in my journal, or the things that I'm sort of processing in my own time, or what's going on in my life, I keep to myself unless it will help someone.
I also feel like, because the key word on Instagram at the moment is engagement. I feel like some people overshare things or share things that they wouldn't normally do for clicks and engagement.
100%. I agree with you. I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day. It's like every single thing that anyone's ever gone through in their life, it's like trauma is on trend.
It's like vulnerability porn. It's just it's
the oversharing is a lot. I actually struggle being vulnerable, to be honest. I've been the tough girl for a really long time, and often the quote unquote tough girl is the most emotional. So bless us. So I struggle being vulnerable, and I think that I am vulnerable on the podcast and on Instagram, but I just think, if it's, you got to come down to what is the intention. Is the intention for likes and engagement, or is the intention because you feel that this will help the world? Because at the end of the day, like, you're on Instagram, people all around the world are watching it. And maybe it is having a great impact on people. And if it is, and you're doing it for that reasons, then share it. But I don't know, I think I use Instagram a little bit more intentionally now.
Totally.
So
coming into the new year, I thought this would be a good question to ask you, because you sort of are all about living better and everything. New year, New Year's resolutions. How can we live better in 2022?
Well, that's the name of my podcast, Live Better. So it's very on brand. I think for me, a big word that has come up in the last sort of few months, particularly, having been in lockdown and dealing with what is a very crazy year, is how can I be more conscious and make more conscious choices? So when I think about making more conscious choices, I think about consciously consuming. So am I consciously consuming media and the news? Am I consciously consuming social media? Am I consciously consuming food? Can I make better food choices? Can I, like I said before, I was completely plant-based, now I'm pescatarian. Can I continue to, shop from the local grocer? Can I, reduce single-use plastic? So I've just signed with Evian as their ambassador, and it was with a huge campaign all about sustainability. So I'm learning now, like, all these little tips and tricks for how to be more sustainable and how to, make less of an impact on the
Yeah, right.
environment, for myself and the future. So
Yeah.
it keeps coming back to making more conscious choices, nutritionally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. I think particularly this whole year has been self-preservation. I haven't actually spent that much money. I haven't been working like a dog or training the house down because I haven't been going to the gym most of the year. So
Yeah, right.
I think it's just been slowing down and going within and asking myself, what do I really want for the next 12 months? And how can I be just a little bit better every day? And how can I make a better impact on the world and also the environment? So it's just small daily things, journaling, meditating, drinking less, saying no more, having stronger boundaries, and just protecting my energy. I think that all of us have become introverts over the past 18 months, and it's okay to still have, strong boundaries when it comes to people and events. It's okay to say no. It's okay to preserve yourself. Which is so different to what I've done in the past. In the past, my diary would be booked out from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Work all day, events, podcasts, filming, home, go to an event in the afternoon, go to the gym,
right.
do it all again. And it looks nothing like that now. I'm still working a lot, and but I'm just doing things differently. Life is different now.
Yeah. And I think after the last 2 years, life will never be the same. It will never go back to the way it was.
I know, it's weird.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It feels like a lost 2 years, but it's actually not, because we've learned so much about ourselves.
Yeah, totally.
And how precious our immune systems are and our bodies and the environment. And I don't know, we've kind of learned what's important in life and what's not.
Oh, absolutely. The trivial things just mean nothing anymore.
I know. Have you changed? How do you feel in the last?
Oh, I've changed heaps. I've got a 2-year-old, so she's spent pretty much almost her whole life in lockdown. And I've realized I wanted to be the kind of mum that, she was really busy all the time and she'd be really stimulated and would do this and would do that. And she has thrived just being with her dad and I. And to me, that shows so much.
Yeah.
That's really all we need is just connection.
Yes. Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think connection is a big lesson for this year. Because we've all been so disconnected from everyone, but we've been more connected to ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Katie, thank you so much for coming on the show this week. I've loved chatting with you. I'll link all your bits and pieces in the show notes, and have an awesome 2022.
Oh, thank you, love. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of It's All Her. If you have loved this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with a friend. Follow us on socials. I will be back in your ears next week with an incredible chat with Olympic basketballer Lauren Jackson. Have an amazing week.